Jay, how about the Commanders? They won a game by 33 for the first time since you were coaching them back in 2015 when you guys pummeled the Saints at home and Kirk had a perfect quarterback rating. This is becoming commonplace around these parts now. They're 5-2. They're the number one offense in the league in scoring. They're number one in point differential. I think it's time to say they're pretty good.
I think so, and they did it with their backup quarterback, which is equally impressive, if not more impressive. Marcus came in off the bench, was prepared, was ready. They protected him, and he did a great job. And, of course, the defense continues to impress. So, yeah, it was an all-around dominating performance against those Panthers and Andy Dalton.
What's that like in game when your starter goes down at QB and you kind of have to scramble and you want to give the backup a bunch of information, but you also don't want to put too much pressure on him. Walk me through the machinations there when the starter goes down.
That depends on the backup. Marcus is a great backup because he's a veteran guy with a similar skill set to Jade. He can run, so you don't have to really change your game plan. You still have all the zone reads, the quarterback design plays, RPOs. Marcus can do all that, and he's a veteran. He's a pro. So he's a great backup to have in case something happens to Jade, and he proved it Sunday. If you have a young quarterback that's your backup, you're a little bit shaky. You don't know what he's good at. You don't know what he's comfortable with, so you're a little bit more conservative. But I don't think Cliff was conservative at all. He proved that on the drive at the end of the half when they went 8 plays for 92 yards and a touchdown to go 20-0. He just let it hang out, let him roll. And that's the benefit of having a veteran like Marcus.
I was going to say, not only that drive, but late in the game when they're up by 1 million, I think it was might have already been 37-0. It was 30-0 maybe. They're throwing it. They're dropping back, and Cliff Kingsbury just kept stepping on the gas pedal. But you could also see he's just operating with so much confidence right now, calling plays. You've got your backup quarterback. You're up 20-0. There's 2 minutes to go in the half, and he's going for another, not just field goal, but a touchdown. What's that like when you're in that kind of place where you just feel that good about your guys on the field making you right?
Exactly. It is a great feeling. Sometimes you don't have that feeling because you don't have any linemen that can block. Fortunately, Washington has a very good offensive line. They're playing at a high level now. The addition of Tyler Biadasz has been awesome. Cosby's playing great at the guard. The tackles are protecting. And you feel better as a play caller. Hell, these guys aren't rushing. They're not getting home. They're not hitting the quarterback. So let's just keep dialing them up. What the hell? And that's a great thing to have. Now, if you start, playing against guys like Myles Garrett, some better pass rushers, which already played, he's proved they can block them too. You might taper back a little bit. But this offensive line, Bobby Johnson and these guys are doing a great job.
Yeah, what are you seeing in terms of run blocking? And obviously having a quarterback as athletic as Jaden Daniels, and I guess Mariota by extension, certainly helps. But it's not just them. The straight runs, too, they're thumping people and moving piles, and there's holes there to be had. What are you seeing in this run game that makes it so good?
Yeah, they're versatile in what they do. They have the passes off the runs, the RPOs, the screens off the runs. They, had a good RPO. They hit the snot and the flat off the same run look with the guys going back. They got a really good conceptual run game that is hard to defend because there's so many different levels you have to defend. You have to defend the receivers on the flats, quarterback on the keeper, the run, the power runs on the inside. And Washington is strong enough up front to move people and create holes. And Brian has great vision. Eckler has great vision. These guys are finding holes. But the creativity Anthony Lynn has produced with the run game coordinator and the Bobby Johnson, like I mentioned, and obviously Kingsbury's influence, man, it's a tough offense to stop because you don't know who the hell's got the ball, where it's going. Is the quarterback keeping it? Is he handling it? Is he going to throw a flat route, a bubble screen? They got it working on all cylinders right now.
I was just watching some of their film analysis you were just getting to on the Commanders. You mentioned Biadasz already in that answer, but what have you seen from him? It seems like he's the guy that jumps out at you on film, or is there more than just him that pops out?
I love that guy. He's tough. I like his name. I don't even know if I pronounce it right. Biadasz. I like his name. He's tough. He's a catalyst in there, and I love good, tough centers. It makes a big difference. He's communicating, especially when you have a young quarterback and a backup coming in there. Your center has to do a lot of work, but the rest of the guys are feeding off him. I think Cosby's playing really good at guard. I don't think you can give enough credit to what they're doing at tackle. They've gotten a lot better at tackle too. So all around, they're all playing good. And the addition of Ertz has helped, and the tight end presence has helped in the running game as well. I've mentioned that many times. So yeah, they're all good.
Jay Gruden with us here on Grant and Danny. Jay, how would you handle Daniels' injury this week with, respectfully to like a linebacker or a safety or somebody, playing with some discomfort? That's not that big a deal to me. But franchise quarterback, different story, at least the way I would do it. But again, I'm not qualified to do anything other than maybe talk to you. But how would you handle it as a head coach here in terms of Daniels coming back?
Yeah, you got to really be in close communication with the trainers. What's the long-term deal if he gets hit again? How's Jaden feeling? What's his flexibility like? Can he get the torque on it necessary to throw the deep ball and the deep outs and all that stuff if he's having discomfort? Discomfort's one thing, but lack of flexibility is another. If he can't make the throws that he shouldn't play. But if he can play with a little bit of pain and he still has the flexibility to rip it down the field, and you know what the hell, if it's just a rib, you got lots of ribs. You'll be all right.
If he is, say, 90% or so, do you play him, or does he have to be 100 because you're 5-2? It's not a division game, yada yada yada.
I think it depends on Jaden. You know, obviously Mariota will be ready to go, and you probably have to dress three-quarter. I don't know how the third quarterback thing works anymore, but I'd be talking to Jaden. If Jaden feels like he can go, and then keep an eye on him early in the game, I'd probably limit some of the quarterback design runs and his own reads and stuff like that, although that's what makes him very good. But he'll know how to protect himself. He probably won't break any tackles or anything like that. But I'd leave it up to Jaden and the trainer. The trainer says, hey, he's not risking anything long term. He's just going to play with some discomfort. Jaden says, I can do it. I'd let him go for a series or two, see how he feels. If he's ripping it, then let him roll. If he's struggling, then I'd probably pull him and make sure give him another week to heal.
So that's interesting, because that's actually where I was going next, and you kind of answered this. But I said to Danny earlier in the show, if Cliff Kingsbury has to tear any pages or concepts off of his little IHOP chart, or if he has to call anything differently because Daniels isn't quite ready to do something, be it nakeds on a 4th and 1 that they like, or some type of read option or whatever, then I'm not playing him. Like, if he can't be himself, then so be it. It will wait a week. But it sounds like you might be willing to go, let's play in the pocket a little more. Let's not run around as much. Let's be ultra careful and play him. That essentially you would kind of create some new rules this week if need be.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't totally take the handcuffs off him. I would trust the fact that he would know how to protect himself, being that he's, been in this situation before. He's had injuries before in college and missed a few downs here and there. And you can't limit his ability to run the ball, because that's what makes him special. So I think if he feels like he can run, he'll have his ribs all padded up and protected. He'll be fine. But if he's sore and he can't throw the ball, it doesn't have the flexibility, then like I said before, you got to play Marcus, because the Bears defense is pretty good. They got guys that can run all over the field. Montez Sweat, we know that. He can track people down. He runs the 4-3. So it's going to be tough to get a lot of quarterback runs anyway against this defense. It'll be more conventional type stuff, I believe, in play actions.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get to. If it is Mariota against this Bears defense, probably the best they've faced, most complete anyway, over the course of this season, what would you game plan in terms of getting Mariota going, if it had to be Mariota?
Similar, just what they've been doing. They've been so successful through the first 7 weeks of the season, what they do and their ability to do different things out of different formations and create matchup problems in the run game and in the pass game. You just continue to do what you do. I don't think you hold back on Marcus. He proved that he can handle the offense. He's got a good grasp on it. Obviously, you want to feature the run game a little bit more and try to get some powerful runs up the middle, like they've been doing, and try to keep the defense fresh and get them off the field. But I just keep everything pretty much the same with Marcus. He's proven he can do it.
Would you expect a Mariota-led offense against the Bears to be able to thrive? They had such a good performance against Carolina post Daniels injury, but that was Carolina's defense. I wouldn't give them much of a chance for Mariota to shine or for the offense to be really good against that Bears defense. What would be your logic on that, or thought on that?
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a struggle. I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a low-scoring game. You have to accept that. Don't turn the ball over. Let Tressway punt and back these guys up, and hopefully Caleb Williams turns the ball over a couple times. And it might be one of those games of 17-13. I don't envision a game where you're scoring 37 or 40 points like you did last week. This is going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight up front. The offense and defensive line are going to get after it. Who can protect their quarterback better? All the similar stuff. But let's kick field goals. Let's punt when we have to, and let's try to force the young quarterback in Chicago, Caleb Williams, into some turnovers, which he is prone to do from time to time.
Jay, I was actually wondering this over the last couple of weeks, and I think now may be a good time to ask you, with maybe them leveling up again in terms of opponent difficulty, at least when it comes to an offense. How much of your play calling when you were doing it was almost geared towards, yes, I want to win this game, I want to play well here, but also I want to make sure I give a couple looks so that this team I'm playing in a couple of weeks, for example, might have to worry about something, and then maybe that's the time you go against type, or how much three-dimensional chess were you playing as a play caller, and how much do you think they're doing?
I think they're doing a lot, and you have to do some. You want to be as off balance as you can, personnel wise, formation wise, all that stuff. Give different looks, run similar concepts out of different looks. Big thing we always used to say is, make the same play look different. And you might run inside zone, but you might run it with a sifter. You might run it with a screen on the backside or a flat stick combination on the backside, but still inside zone. You know what I mean? A different RPO with a different formation. It could be with two backs. They did a couple formations with Eckler and Brian Robinson in the formation, and Sanat and Ertz in the backfield. They're doing a great job of giving defenses different looks, looking very complicated. But you really watch a tape, they're really not that complicated. They're just being creative in the way they're using everybody.
Jay Gruden on Grant and Danny here on the Fan. Their defense is a lot better than it was start of the year. Seems like they got some really good players. Frankie Louvu. You look at the back end. I like what they're getting out of Quan Martin at this point. But overall, it hasn't all quite come together the way they were probably hoping for just yet. I mean, if you're saying low scoring, 14 to 17 kind of game late with a few minutes to go against the Bears, are they good enough to win a game like that at this point?
I think they are against the Bears. I know the Bears have gotten better the last couple of weeks. They put up some points, and Caleb's getting a lot better. He's more comfortable in the pocket, but I still think that they're going through some growing pains as well offensively. So I think they can get some stops. I'm surprised how well the front's playing and stopping the run. Hubbard had a couple good games coming into this game. He didn't really do anything. They're stopping the run. They're playing pretty good defense. Their coverage is getting tighter. Hell, Forbes even had a pick yesterday, didn't he? That's awesome.
Second in his career, man.
I mean, yeah. So they're playing better in the back end. They're getting more confident. You can just feel the confident level. I know they're not playing great teams, but you still have to produce on field to get confidence and gain momentum moving on to your next opponent. I think that's what they have right now. They're flying to the football. They're getting good rush. Luvu's doing a good job playing on the line of scrimmage. He's playing good at linebacker, so they're mixing people up and creating different matches on defense, just like they're doing on offense.
Feels like this weekend, and just football at large here, Jay, starting Thursday even, it feels like there were more blowouts this weekend than we're used to seeing. It almost feels like almost every game comes down to one possession, even if a team comes in, on the way to a top 5 pick going up against the 5-0 team or something. But there were a number of double-digit runaway victories this weekend. Why do you think that was?
I don't know. Maybe the teams aren't very good. There weren't many. I can't remember the ones you're talking about. Houston was a good game. Detroit was a great game. Cleveland, Cincinnati, probably. Cincinnati is Cleveland's just a dumpster fire right now. They're awful. New England looked terrible against Jacksonville in London. They had a short trip out there, and Jacksonville stayed a week or two out there, so they had a little bit of advantage. And then Buffalo pulled away from Tennessee. Tennessee couldn't get out of their own way. But I don't know. I don't know. I think a lot of times when people get ahead, the other team tries to feel like they had to come back right away instead of sticking with their game plan and become one-dimensional and start turning the ball over, get put up field position and sacks, and it becomes a blowout.
What do you think of Drake May against the Jaguars? Second career start for him.
I'd be happy with his performance, really. Second start, I think he's doing good. I think he's showing a lot of poise in the pocket, toughness, even though they're having to come back and he's having to face stunts and twists and blitzes. He's sticking his foot in the ground and delivering the ball. So I think there's a lot of upside with Drake. Obviously, he's young. He's getting better and better. They just got to play better on defense. They can't let Jacksonville run the ball 17 times and eat up the clock in the game. So they got some issues at New England, but I don't think Drake May is one of them.
That's a badly coached team, by the way. Gerard Mayo is their head coach. He was a position coach. I don't think he was ever really a coordinator because Belichick did so much defensively. But he was kind of the coach in waiting. They didn't really interview anyone outside the building. It just seems like a bad situation where, I don't know, I would not be very confident in him if I was a Patriots fan.
It's weird because last year they were a top team against the run, and they got a lot of the same players. I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know. But they're coached different, obviously, because the same players they have on the field were number one against the run last year. This year they can't stop a dive up the middle. It's brutal. So a lot of issues going on in New England, but I think quarterback, whoever has that job next year, if it's Mayo, at least they have their future. It's a quarterback position, which is important. They just got to get the defense right.
I think you're a big Brock Purdy guy, aren't you?
I like Brock. I mean, I'm not like he's like I'm not as high on him as a lot of other guys are, but I do like him as
a top 5 guy in the league. But I think you and I are kind of like you're like me maybe, where I see him as he's better than he gets credit for the people that think he just is a passenger basically, but he's probably not a superstar. Is that fair?
Yeah.
He stunk yesterday, 3 picks. mean, what do you make of San Francisco right now? They're 3-4. They can't beat the Chiefs. We know that. They didn't yesterday. Purdy played poorly. And I don't know. The weapons aren't there, and they just don't look the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I know firsthand when your weapons get hurt and you're playing backups instead of Debo Samuel, Jawan Jennings, and Brandon Ayuk, you're playing Chris Conley, Ronnie Bell, and some other rookie from Fresno State. I don't even know. It becomes a lot more difficult to function. However, some teams are doing it. Chiefs are doing it with, a variety of different guys at wide receiver. So you just got to figure it out somehow. I couldn't figure it out, but it's difficult when your star players don't play. With your highest paid players on your offense don't play, it becomes very difficult. That's kind of what happened with San Fran, with McCaffrey to 3 wideouts.
Jay, KC's the only 6-0 team, only undefeated team in the NFL. So if they're not your 1 seed, you can feel free to chime in and say why. But if they're the 1 seed in the NFL, who's the 2 seed? Who's the second best team chasing Kansas City in your mind right now?
Detroit.
Yeah.
Detroit is awesome. They're awesome. Their offensive line is powerful. They have receivers. They have backs. They got a quarterback that is playing at a level that nobody's seen before. These last 3 weeks he's perfect passer rating 3 games in a row. This is sick. What they're doing on offense is ridiculous. So yeah, Detroit. And defensively, I hate that they lost Hutchinson. That's going to hurt them in the long run. But offensively, they're going to be able to move the ball on anybody.
How many teams in the NFC? I'll take you through them for the sake of the exercise. But would you say right now are definitively better than Washington, or you would say, like in a playoff game at this moment, you'd be surprised if the Commanders beat them? It wouldn't be a toss-up. All right, ready? So we'll say Detroit because you really like them. It sounds like. How about Minnesota?
Yeah, it'd be tough. Their defense is pretty damn good. Didn't look good yesterday, but Minnesota's pretty good, both sides of the ball. Yeah, I'd say Minnesota give them a tough matchup.
All right, so we'll say that they're better than the Commanders. Are the Packers 5-2 better than the Commanders?
That depends on Jordan Love. Which Jordan Love is going to show up? I think their defense is pretty damn good. So I'd say right now, yes, but that's close.
Okay, so there's 3. NFC East, Eagles or Cowboys?
None.
Okay.
None.
How about the NFC South, Bucks or the Falcons, who had a tough one yesterday, got blown out by the Seahawks?
Well, the Bucks already beat them, so you got to say the Bucks. And the Bucks, with the experience they have with Todd Bowles and Vita Vea on defense, and Levante David, and then of course the wideouts, Godwin and Mike Evans and Baker playing the way he's playing. I'd say Bucks right now, but I think that can change if Washington continues to improve on defense. They're going to have to.
All right, so there's 4, and then in the NFC West, Seattle, San Francisco, either of those teams?
San Fran, if they get everybody back, yes. Seattle, no. Rams, no. Definitely Cardinals, no. We already beat them. So San Fran on paper, if everybody's healthy, they're a better football team. But right now, with all the injuries, they're not.
So we're saying top 5-ish in the NFC. I mean, why can't they win their first playoff game since I was in high school?
Why can't they? They can. I think they can, and they will. I think they're going to have a favorable schedule moving forward. The NFC East, I've mentioned this before. I mean, obviously Dallas will probably play better, but they're not very good on defense. And Dak's not, he just doesn't look the same, and they don't really have a running game. And Philadelphia, Saquon's going to be a major issue. That's the only one I'm really, really worried about. The Giants are really, really struggling. So I think it's between Philadelphia and Washington to win the division. But I think both will go to the playoffs.
Jay, always awesome. Look forward to it every Monday, man. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thanks, guys.